Yo, what's up guys? My name is Sylenth1 and today I'm going to teach you guys how to properly layer your bass lines. Now, I'm making this video because this question is still brought up in a lot of production forums. Whenever I go on there, I always see this question and a lot of people sometimes give the wrong answers to it, I think. And a lot of people had the misconception of that you can just layer basses and not worry about, having stuff happen to your mix. Now, first off, let's talk about layering the basses. If you layer bass patches, let's say you use presets, which there's nothing wrong with that. I made a video on that, which you guys can watch. The problem is that every bass patch, if you're playing it at a low octave, is going to have sub information. So pretty much here we have two basses, and if I were to take off these EQ8s, they're both going to produce a sub. Now, the problem that arises here is that if you layer like three basses or two, you have two subs playing at the same time. Take into account that the kick's also going to have some low end information. And you can see what the problem is going to happen. Already, if you even have one sub, your kick and your sub will never get along. So you're going to have to find ways to deal with that. And one of the ways we do that is via sidechain. The other thing is if you have two bass patches playing and you don't take off the low end on one of them, then you're going to have a lot of low end information that eventually, when you go into mastering, you're going to master the whole track and make it louder. But what's going to happen is your sub information, it's going to be a lot of low end information. And that's what happens when, a lot of young producers, they layer bass patches. It sounds fine. They go into a car and boom, it sounds like you're in a submarine, about to discover Atlantis. But if we layer properly, none of that will ever happen. So the first thing we're going to do, guys, is let's say we have our layers, right? So the layer right now that I have is this. It sounds fine, but again, that low end information is going to fuck us up in the future. So better prevent it, use a condom. So the way we use a condom for bass lines is going to be literally getting rid of the low end to the point where you get rid of the sub on both patches, not just one. Now, the way this is going to sound is like this. And we're going to have the information. Now, one of the bass patches I have is made wide. Now, the reason that I can make this wide, guys, and I can't do it if I don't get rid of the low end, is one, because you don't want a wide sub. I've never heard of a wide sub. It's never going to happen. So for those people trying to be unique, making wide sub basses, hell no. Your sub will always be in mono. So we got rid of the sub here. Now I can make this bass wide. Now this other bass will be in mono just to kind of reinforce the center with some mid-high frequencies. I can also make it normal. Now these two are going to make my layer. But now you're like, okay, where's the fucking sub? Now what you're going to do is pretty much you're going to make a dedicated sub. What this means is you're just going to find a preset that says it's a sub, or you're going to make a sub by making a sine wave with, one voice or 8 voices. Now this sub, you're going to get rid of the high information and you're going to leave it just where you have the boominess. You're going to make this mono because your sub, your low end, usually anything below 150 is set to mono, and this is something that's debatable. It can go up to 200, whatever you feel is needed. Now, the sub is always in mono because it's the driving force of your track, and obviously if you want to punch someone, you punch them straight in the center of the nose, not to the fucking sides and shit. So that's the same, kind of putting it in that layman terms. Now, with that being done, the cool thing about this, guys, is that first off, it allows us to be clean because one, we have one sub, we don't have 5 subs going off and making your car sound like a submarine. And second, now that we have the bass separated from the sub, the upper layers, we can compress the basses together without losing power in our low end. We can saturate the basses without worrying about oversaturating the low end. Again, the low end is very, very sensitive. It sounds rough and tough as hell, but it has deep meanings, meaning that if you fucked up something up, that fucking subbass is gonna fuck your ass. So with that being said, I can add saturation to this without affecting my low end, and my low end will be smooth, just there chilling, getting sidechain, and that's about it. So as you guys can see, this is very clean. Now the next thing to do would be to pretty much get rid of the reverbs and delays in each of your patches, and then make one for all of it. So what I mean by that is, let's say I have a reverb in A, I'm gonna send the group to A, and then in B, and now when we play it together, And now we have the cleanest possible layer possible. And you can apply this to leads as well in different layman terms, but I'll make a video for that in the future. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget what we taught. All the sounds in this are from Sylenth1 Revolution Volume 2. If you guys want to check it out, I'll leave a link in the description below. You can always support me that way. Instead of asking for donations, I ask for a sound bank, and you will not get your money back. Good word. Anyways, guys, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care and have fun.